Hi guys, welcome to my summer class, lesson 3. I tried going live this afternoon and I don't know, it was not connecting. So I'll be going live on other platforms like YouTube and Twitch. However, for Facebook, let me post this video here. I'm going to be very quick so it won't consume more space. We're talking about the chess pawns and what do we want to look at. We want to look at the chess pawns, how they move, and capture how the rapport on the chessboard. So I'm going to remove other pieces and leaving the chess pawns alone on the board. So what I'm doing now, I'm just removing the pieces and trying to set up the board so we can have other pawns on the board here. Good. So as we have this, let me see, I'm going to put the king. Where is it? I'm going to keep the king here and the king so you can monitor the affair on the chessboard. So we'll go back to the analysis and we are here. Now in this position here, we're not going to touch the king. We're only going to focus on the movement of the pawns. I know you get what I'm saying. So let's start from the location. The pawns for white are located on the second rank. This second rank, if you look closely, this is 1 and 2. Then for the black pawns, it's located on the 7th rank. So we move up from the white perspective. The next thing we should learn about is movement. The pawns, they are all the same. So what I'm going to explain for one, the others can do it. The pawns can move one step. Simple. Just like this. And you have moved the pawn. Yeah. Now, furthermore, special moves 2 steps for a pawn. This pawn that I've moved 1 step, however, cannot move 2 steps again. The chance to move 2 steps by the rule of the game is only given to a pawn when the pawn has not moved at all. So any of these pawns for now has not made any movement. So it is up to you, the player, to say, okay, by choice, I want to move these pawns 1 step or 2 steps. So in chess, we play in turn. So white plays, black plays. It works that way. If you now decide by yourself as a player that, okay, I'm going to move this pawn 1 step, you have played this pawn. Throughout the journey of that pawn on this chessboard, you dare not move that pawn 2 steps. It is now illegal. So if black responds by doing this, you see the remaining 7 pawns have not moved. So there is still an option of moving either 1 step or 2 steps for any of these pawns. Yeah. So let's say you choose to move 2 steps. You see, same thing applies to this pawn. This pawn has enjoyed moving 2 steps. It cannot move 2 steps again in the course of the game. So I just explained to you 1 step for the pawn and 2 steps for the pawn and the conditions. However, any pawn that I've moved is entitled to move only 1 step forward by movement. A pawn, therefore, cannot by movement leave his own line and go to this square. Never. A pawn cannot come back. Never. A pawn cannot go to this square. Never. A pawn by movement cannot just go here. No. There is condition for moving to this square and I will explain to you quickly. If black moves, we have a new relationship. Since the pawn can only move 1 step forward, and this pawn also on this E file can only move 1 step forward, we can simply say that the black pawn is blocking the white pawn from moving on that particular file. So this is a block. The reason why it's a block is that it is directly in front of the pawn. A pawn far from a pawn is not a block because we see how squares these pawns can move to by movement. We move further. Let's talk about capture. If a pawn moves, you still have 1 more space to go to. So white just finished playing. It's time for the black to play. Now, black plays. Now, white plays. Black plays. White plays. I want to show you something. That's why I'm making this kind of moves. You see, there's a relationship between these 2 pawns staring at themselves diagonally 1 square. In this position here, this pawn can move by capture towards this direction and occupy the space of that captured piece, then the piece goes out. The captured piece leaves the board. So now the question is to you watching this now, can you spot a capture on this board at the moment? If yes, then where is it? Is this to this a capture? No, wrong. Is this to this a capture? No, this is the capture, is here. So I'm taking this slowly because I want you to understand. By the time you become pro now, you forget about me. So take this. That's a capture. Just explain capture. So let's move to another information. Now I want to explain promotion. How does it work? Look at this pawn. This particular pawn started from here on C2, moved and captured the pawn. It's progressing. Now let's say, for instance, we have a pawn here. If he captures and this man did not capture, there's a capture for it back. If this man says, okay, I'm smart and played nonsense, giving room for this pawn to capture, we are approaching somewhere. This guy just finished capturing something. This happens, offering a pawn. This is a capture. This man's supposed to capture back. If your opponent says, okay, I know too much and plays this pawn, just take this. This particular pawn has journeyed from here to here, captured here, captured here, captured here, and now is here. Now, in this case, your opponent says, okay, let me play this. You see, this pawn has gotten to the highest of its rank. Look at that pawn. So this is called promotion. The pawn can be promoted to any of these officers. If you look at the screen right now, this application gives us the options to choose, either to promote to a queen or a knight or a rook or a bishop. So let's promote to the highest of them all because queen is the strongest and the highest. So I just explained with this exercise what is called promotion. A pawn is the only piece that can make promotion. So we have other lessons we can learn about a pawn. There is a special move called en passant. En passant happens specially. Let's keep that till you are grinded with this knowledge. Then we have other ideas in the end game about the pawn. And most times when you have a pawn in the end game, the idea is to promote that pawn to become a stronger officer. I believe you've learned something. So let's put our skills to test by playing with this computer here. Now I'm going to be playing the white pieces and computer responds with the black pieces. So let's enjoy this exercise. You can also try it out on your own. Now I have this. I play 2 steps forward, which is right. I wait for computer to make his move. See, my hands are up. Computer just played. I said, okay, computer played here. I'm going to play my pawn occupying the centers. You see what I've just done? In this case, I'm occupying the center square. So what I was preparing for is that if computer plays a pawn here, I'm going to capture it. If computer plays a pawn here, I'm going to capture it. If computer plays a pawn here, I'm going to take it. A pawn here, I'm going to take it. We don't rush information like this because we are taking it slowly. I know you know what I mean. In this exercise, I'm going to be forced to move the king. So you see the way I'm using the king, although we've not studied the king yet, but it's a privilege for you to understand 2 pieces with just one example or exercise. So I'm going to play my king up and wait for computer to respond. He played his king. I'm going to bring my king up. He plays his king. I'm going to bring a 3rd pawn occupying centers. So he played this. I'm going to say, okay, this pawn should be stopped. I want to play b3. So if I play b3, it captures. I'm going to take back with this. So I'm going to push b3. Let's see what it does. Computer says he's too smart. Computer wants me to capture the pawn so he can capture back. Computer is already teaching us wisdom. Simple. So in this case, I'm going to say, yeah. What I'm going to do is this. I'm going to leave it that way and activate this square so I can push for this pawn. Just push a3, So I just prepared my pawn push to g4. So I'm still observing the board. I'm seeing what the board is talking about. Here, let's go. I push that pawn there. I'm thinking he will take. If he doesn't take, I will take him. So I'm going to take here. I took back, keeping my pawns here together with the king and closer to the king. Now, because of some reasons, I want to bring my king all the way here so I can take some of the pawns. I'll move the king one. Let's see what he does. Do not forget, I'm not ignoring this side. I'm keeping them for a purpose. I'm going to play this. So if he plays a pawn here, I'm going to take it. If he plays a pawn here, I'm going to take. Now he takes now, finally. I recapture back with the pawn on A. I want my pawns to be closer to me. Now see what computer has done. Computer played this move, want me to take so he can take back with the king. I said no, I don't want that to happen. I will go after this pawn by pushing this pawn c4. It takes, I take back, so I have a good relationship with my pawns. Fine, computer wants to try trick with me, having hanging pawns at the back. I play my king. Yes. It takes, I'm going to take with this, still preventing him from having access to these squares. Even if he plays now, I'm going to take. So computer idea maybe to play here and push. Good. So I'm going to play here. You want me to take. However, I'm going to play. I'm going to capture. I can capture, right? Let me play this first. Let's not capture now. Let me play that. So I'm going to play here. I'm going after this pawn with my king. Here now, the king is too far. So you want me to capture? I won't, because I have a recapture. So I'm going to take here. I'm going to take here. Now I have a pawn that can become promoted. However, I cannot push the pawn alone just like that. If I let the pawn go alone just like that, it can be captured by the black king. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to find a way to support with my king. I'll go in front of the pawn. He pushes this. I go here. Now I have secured this square with my king. So I can now start pushing 1, 2, and 3. I just made a promotion. So I come back here. We've not studied some things I'm going to do here, so I would do it anyway so you can learn from it. I'm going to push this pawn. Push the pawn. Push the pawn. I need to be careful. Since the king has somewhere here, I still have moves. I'll bring in another strong officer, either a second queen or a rook. Now I have this. I can easily play a check by pushing the rook here. Check to the king. He goes inside here. I'm going to take this pawn and make a check, and the game ends. You just see the game end. The king has nowhere to go. This is an example of what we call a checkmate. The rook covers these squares I mark with red circle, and the queen is making a check. The king cannot come here because that square is under attack by a pawn. So thank you for watching this. See, this is just one example. This class will take you to the next level. So this is just the beginning. You can write your questions in the comment section and ask and suggest ideas. I'm open to ideas. So see you in the next class.